for an injured runner. How should one go about initial shift from running and retain hope for the future? From Hazel in Cambridge.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously the get into PT, do their like drills and all of that stuff, be patient. I think one thing that I had in my injury situations that is probably unusual, but I think is good advice, is you'll get people that really want to hammer the cross training because they don't want to lose like any fitness, right? And if it's a small injury and you think it's going to be a couple days, but like for the femur or something major, I cross train like for sanity. Like I just want to sweat a little bit. I want to like, be able to work out occasionally because that is my norm. But I think cross train to build a cardiovascular base so that when I came back, I was ready to go. Because I think you kind of have to have the two systems coming back together. And if that engine is really ready to rip because you've been training to not lose an ounce of fitness, is the chassis, the frame, the body ready to support that? And sometimes you get those on two different levels, and then that's kind of where the injury cycle seems to happen. It's like the cardiovascular is super high, the body's not ready for it, and then you finally get it here, and then it's back, So I think just be patient with that side too. You don't have to cross-train like crazy, like kind of try to bring them back together.
So that when you are out there at full speed, you're healthy in both ways.
Exactly.
During your downtime, what do you do while sipping bourbon? What do you like to read and or binge watch? This is from Arlette in Bolton, Connecticut.
I'm trying to think of what I've watched lately. I haven't turned on the TV in weeks, but I liked Euphoria. We were just talking about that the other day because there was a girl at a restaurant who looked like Rue. We were just talking about how great that show is. What was the other one? What did I read?
Yes, while sipping bourbon, specifically.
Bourbon. I'm embarrassed we haven't picked up a book in a while.
Well, you've been busy with the book, so I think we could cut you some slack.
It's been a minute.
Do you have any dreams to share about what a 60-year-old Des Linden might be up to 20 years from now? Vicky in Boston.
I'll be like paddleboarding on Lake Michigan and like trying to pinch my pennies so that I don't have to do much.
But still very active.
Yeah, fishing, paddleboarding.
With dogs.
Yeah, have some dogs.
Definitely. You were quite generous to other runners and still wanted to win the marathon. How do you balance helping others with wanting to win? Thinking about how to support other women while also wanting to win. Donna in North Andover.
I think you want to win because you're the best, not because other people are off or, struggling. There's not a lot of pride in being like, oh, well, she was really nicked up and I crushed her today. It's like you want to beat them at your best and their best. So I think it's a natural thing to want to raise the bar and then hope that you can do that for yourself as well and find your moment on the top.
How much right now are you sizing up the Boston field? Or do you do that?
I haven't looked too. I know it's incredible. I know it's a really good year, and that's about I briefly glanced at all the sub 220s, and I was like, I don't need to keep scrolling. not much.
And we all know that doesn't really matter on race day.
Right.
Do you have a favorite training route you love running, either in Boston or somewhere else? Jack from Cambridge.
So I'm an out and back person. People out and back, yeah, these are my people. So I do the same out and backs like all the time. I love running on the course here. It's always fun.
So on the course, do you do an out and back, or do you just run into the
No, because the uphill is terrible.
Right.
So I would just go out. I would just go out, and then, yeah, that's it. But yeah, typically I'm an out and back person.
What is your best advice for keeping the mental game strong during a big race? Mallory in Brookline, New Hampshire.
Practice ahead of time. I mean, I think that's like an under worked on area. People don't really think of it as a skill they can work on, and there's tons of great sports psychology books, there's visualization, there's meditation, there's mantras, there's all these tools that most people they don't think of it as a skill, right? We go and train our legs, our lungs, we even train our gut with the fluids on the course, like train between your ears too, and practice different things in different workouts, and then on race day have a plan so that you know, these are the skills that I'm going to use when I get in tough spots. And our mind uses up so much energy, you might as well use it in a productive way.
Of those, which have been the most helpful for you? Knowing that everyone will have one that is best for him or her?
Yeah, I mean, I think visualization is huge for me, and that's something I've been like very specific at times of like, I'm going to set aside time and like lay down on the couch, close my eyes, go through the race day, all the different parts of the course, and like I know what it's going to look like. I know what the sensations are going to be. I can smell the moment. Like I can, there's texture to it, the whole thing, and kind of break it down and do parts of the course that are challenging and moments that there might be high nerves, and then there's times where it's just like less focused and you're out on a run and you place yourself in the moments on the course that you want to work on.
And you don't run with music?
No, not often.
That's all just thinking time. This is from Abigail in Boston. Running is something you're awesome at. Is there any activity you've started recently as a beginner?
Oh gosh, yeah. I'm on NBC broadcast occasionally. I'm a beginner at that, and that's really hard because you're like on air learning.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. It's been a while for you, Lisa. You're a pro.
Yeah, but that's right up your alley, though. In that there's a performance element.
Yeah.
It's a little stressful. Mm-hmm. What do you enjoy about that the most?
When it's done.
Yeah. That we probably don't have a lot of time, but I've got two more here. Have you been able to balance training for the Boston Marathon with the travel and the events required to promote your book, which you'll be doing this week, just managing logistics and recovery and also doing events? And this is from Carrie Ann and Somerville.
Ask me in a week.
She has a very, very busy schedule.
Yeah, no, I've talked to my coach, is like shaking his head. But it's been so far so good. The build-up has been great, and it's already been a fair amount of travel, so I think I've been balancing out well and kind of putting in these breaks and reprieves here and there. This week coming up is going to be tough, and I was talking to my coach about it yesterday, so we got the workout in this morning, so that's off the books for the week. And he was like, you have to think of every flight as a short run. Like, that's kind of like, it's taxing enough to be a run. So get your mileage down and wear compression socks. He has me listen to a lot of the Andy Huberman podcasts on recovery, and he's like, okay, all of those tips in there. So after a workout, I was laughing about this the other day. I did a workout and I was driving back. I was passenger, and I was like, can you put on some soft music, please? Because I heard this on the podcast. And, there's soft music and then box breathing, and I was like, I listen to music, so I can just make it soft. And hopefully I'm breathing, so should do it in the box pattern. Yeah, so easy stuff, right? So all of those things will be implemented.
Outstanding. And the last question here, and I went after this. Who is someone who inspires you as you inspire so many? It could be someone in the running world or outside, from Jennifer in Derry, New Hampshire.
I would go with my sister. She was just a leader for me growing up. She just paved the way, and sometimes she did it when I watched. I was just like all wrong, what not to do. But for the most part, she's incredibly brave, and she's a risk taker, but she's incredibly intelligent and kind. And yeah, she's someone that I've always looked up to and tried to be a lot like at times.
She was here for your 2018 victory, as she is at so many of your races. Do the two of you have a trip that you're planning right now?
We don't, which is, this book tour has been wild, but I think that we'll get the band back together. Ryan, my husband, is doing a gravel bike race in Finland, and her husband, Brad, works in Finland quite often, so I think it's going to match up.